Goedenavond, good evening. Good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And this weekend we've got some very interesting live streams. Tomorrow night we're going to have Louis Meintjes from TLUSA, who are out there to help farmers in many ways, and basically when it comes to the rural safety strategy of farmers and those sort of issues, which we'll be going through tomorrow night. But tonight we have a farmer who's been living for generations out Graaff-Reinet way, and he'll be talking about how what they're now calling the 1,000-year drought has impacted him and his family. Let's have a look at some photos which were sent to me by John from Cape Town, and he says just a few pics of the drought as seen on visit to the Camberdoe National Park, which is at Graaff-Reinet, and this was 3 years ago. So this has got a heck of a lot worse than what you're going to see here. The officials at the park, he said, had no idea they were in a drought situation even then. In town there was no real signs of water restrictions. Okay, here we go. Here are just some of the photos. You can see how thin the animals are, and this was 3 years ago. And remember, the drought has worsened considerably since then. It's a dam. I think it's pretty well dry now. And there's your railway station, which is now no longer used. Okay, now joining us as well will be Chris van Beljon, who's become something of an icon. Chris really reminds me of the old Piet Retief, you know, the fellow who was out there leading the way, and the incredible work he's done in helping farmers in drought-restricted areas is quite extraordinary. He has these huge feed drives, which we have covered on this channel. And without further ado, let me get them on live stream with us. Give me a second. Get Chris on first. Hi, Chris.
Hi, good evening, Scott.
How are you?
How are you?
Good, good.
Just got to see this. Oh, yeah, there they come. Right.
Okay. I'll just get Johannes in. Give me a second.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just adding Johannes to the call. Okay, guys, I think we're just about there. Hi, Johannes, can you hear us? Ah, there you go, Johannes. Johannes, meet. Have you met Chris? Have you met Chris van Beljon before?
No, I haven't.
Oh well, Chris is an iconic fellow. He's the guy who does all these drives with feed to farmers who are in the drought-restricted areas. Chris, tell Johannes about that huge drive we did at Uppington the other day.
Hi, Johannes, how are you?
Yeah, just tell him.
Yeah, so it was about a month ago that we visited Beljon, there in the Northern Cape. And we delivered food there, and for the animals, I think it was about 15 or 17 trucks, and then about 12 buckies, or it was 18 trucks and 12 buckies, the traders that went to Beljon to do the delivery there for that farmers there. I think we helped about 55 farmers there in Beljon.
Right.
That's fantastic.
Now, talking about that situation, you just to be absolutely clear, Johannes, you live in the Graaff-Reinet area, and you have sheep and goats, and you've been very impacted by the drought in your region, haven't you?
Yes, that is so, Scott.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about how it's impacted you? Just get into the facts and basically what it's done.
Basically, what the drought does is that the first 3 years in the Karoo, normally farmers can last that because they've got reserves, either by having felt that they've rested, or they've got monetary reserves, and they've got fodder reserves. And this drought has now it's been going on for 5 years here with us. And what has actually happened, and it's imploding fast, is that basically all the farmers' money has been spent. His lamb crops aren't up to scratch. His wool clip is much lighter and smaller, and the mower is the same. And we've had another thing that's happened to us, and Chris knows about it, that I mean, even the wool has dropped 37% this season, this clip, because of the Chinese market being sort of very slow to come into the market again. And the meat prices, as you are all aware, in a time of drought, the price of meat is also down. So where we 18% less income per unit that we're selling this year as opposed to last year at the same time.
Right. Now, one of the people who aren't helping you are the government. You know, they're making all these promises. Okay, do you want to tell us about that?
That is fact. Yeah, that is fact. I mean, just yesterday in the Afrikaans newspaper, the Burger of the Eastern Cape, it's written there that the government is again giving 55 million for drought relief in the Eastern Cape to the farming sector. They've done this now on 2 or 3 occasions, but the money just does not reach the farming fraternity in the Eastern Cape. Whether you be a commercial farmer or whether you be a emerging farmer, that money just doesn't reach the farming fraternity. That's fact.
So where do you think the money goes?
I think the money just it gets to, if it's true that the central government pays the money over to Bishu, that money gets lost in Bishu. What they do with it, I don't know. If it's for salaries or what happens there with it, I don't know. But the money, as I say, it just never comes to the people here on the ground, that are farmers.
Right. Now, over to you. I'm sorry. Chris, over to you, Chris. Chris, David Mabuza, just a few days ago, he said that he was going to donate, or the government was going to give 30 million rand to help with the drought relief in the Eastern Cape. Have you had any contact with the government about that money?
No, Scott, I didn't. Yeah, he said he's going to donate the money for the Northern Cape, actually.
Right.
And then, yeah, he visited a place in the Northern Cape. And then also, they went to fly over the Northern Cape to go and see the drought. I did at that time make a video and send it out to South Africa to tell them that they don't need to waste the money on flights. They can just go and have a look at my Facebook page and then they'll see the drought, what's going on here in South Africa. They can actually donate that money to the farmers, what they are wasting. And then, yeah, well, so they say 30 million rand, 30 million rand. Well, it's a start, but it won't help much. I think with 30 million rand, you can maybe help that part of the Northern Cape for a month, maybe 2 months. Because it's a small community, and also that part of the Northern Cape, the community there, a lot of that farms there is owned by the government.
Right. Do you think that 30 million rand will ever see the light of day?
No, I don't think so. I told somebody today that they make promises for 30 million rand and then 50 million rand, 55 million rand. They can actually make a promise of 2 billion rand because we never see it. It's gone. So why make promises with the small amounts? I mean, we all know that the farmers don't see the money. It's been going on for a long time. The money's, as Johan said now, that the money goes to Bisho and then it's gone.
Yeah. Now talking about money, you're needing about 500,000 rand for fuel at the moment, aren't you, to take a lot of feed into different areas? Do you want to tell us about that?
That's good. We do deliveries every week, every day actually. So, and then once a month we do a big hand-up to the farmers. Next week we're going to the Northern Cape again.
Right.
To help farmers there. At the moment we're staying at 15 trucks and about 15 buckies. We'll have confirmation in the week. By Monday, Tuesday, there's going to be more than 15 trucks going with. And then, yes, to take that amount of trucks and buckies down there, you need quite a lot of money. I estimated this time around about 300,000 rand.
Well, what you're actually saying is that 15 or 30 million rand that David Mabuza is talking about, he should put it into your bank account, because you could then use that to fuel all these deliveries that you're making. And that would be fulfilling the mandate that he's promised.
Well, I don't think they'll ever do something like that.
No, I don't think so either.
But yeah. Even if they use some other organization that also helps the farmers and just make sure that the farmers get the help, then that will be great news.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they don't even know how many farmers there is that's stuck in drought. I don't even think that they ever, besides this, that the last week when they flew over the Northern Cape, I don't think they ever went and go and visited the farmers the way we do.
Oh, they wouldn't get out of the air-conditioned plane. Now, Johannes, getting back to you, you're a third-generation farmer on that farm, aren't you?
Yes, Scott.
Okay, now, in your lifetime, you've never seen a drought this bad, and apparently this is the worst drought South Africa's ever seen in that area.
Yes, well, according to people that are cleverer than what I am, they say the last drought as bad as this one was 1820. And I mean, I've been through 4 droughts, but I've never seen one like this, quite honest.
Yeah, now,
And
yeah, sorry, Karen.
what makes it bad is the main thing is that the government is not coming to the party. Full stop. The other thing is in the previous dispensation before '94, the government of that era they cherished their farmers, and they did give assistance in different forms.
Yeah.
One was a fight on railage and trucks that brought the fodder for us. The other one was a thing where if you could prove that you had diminished your flocks by a third, so that it was just the nucleus cells left, they would pay you tantamount of money per unit that you have on your farm. And the other thing is the staff members or the people that work on the farms, they would come, the government would come, and they would give half the salary bill that farmer was paying.
Right.
To assist the farming communities.
Now, Johannes, talking about your situation right now, what has the impact of this drought been on your herd?
Well, the thing is, you can think that I'm just farming with a third of the stock that I used to have. So how do you pay all your salaries?
Yeah.
And I mean, as I explained earlier, is that the unit price the income per unit that we've got is also diminished by. We've worked it out here in our auditor's office by 25% per unit. So we die straits financially, and the rural South Africa is in dire straits, and I don't think the government realizes what the impact is. The impact is it's a socio-economic disaster. People will have to go back to town or go and find jobs elsewhere. And what do? How do you say to people that have lived with you, they like family, goodbye this morning, I can't pay you your salary? How do you do that? It's not your fault.
You're talking about the farm labourers.
You're talking about the farm labourers. I mean, yeah, families on this farm that have been here since my grandfather's time. They've grown up with me, and I mean, that's a reality. It's not what the politicians say. In South Africa, there are people that look after one another. They stick together.
Yeah. And this is obviously happening to farmers all over the Graaff-Reinet area.
Yes, well, the thing is, Scott, it's the whole Karoo area. It's Graaff-Reinet, Aberdeen, Beaufort West, Loxton. You can name the whole Karoo. It's a vast area. Yeah. I mean, and the towns, the income of the town is also dependent on farming fraternity and how the farmers are doing.
So this drought is going to have a huge impact then on the rural towns.
Immense. I mean, if you think that you just take a district like Carnarvon, they had 400,000 ewes in that district before the drought. Tonight, as we're sitting here, they've got 60,000 ewes left in that area.
Wow.
Now, how and where are these people going to get if it rains tonight, if there's surplus rain, how are they going to stock those farms? The banks don't want to help you. The government doesn't want to help you. Now, how do you get out of this thing?
Okay, now talking about the banks I know in places like Bultfontein have been anything but helpful. You know, they've actually been very spiteful, and they just foreclose on farms, and they just have no moral compass. They just have no soul. They just come out there and they just, you know, claim their pound of flesh. Do you have the same thing happening at Graaff-Reinet?
No, not at the moment. But I mean, it's something that's facing all of us. It's a reality. Banks are a business, and I mean, they're driving a business, so we can't blame them surely. But the thing is, there was an intervention that could be done in the old days, where there was Article 22 Agricultural Act, which, if you ask for that, the government or the agri banks came and they stepped in. They then assisted those farmers.
Yeah.
But today it's all not. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, no, I'm going to pose this question to both of you. I'll start off again with you, Johannes. What we're talking about when you think 6 months down the track is that this impact when it comes to this drought on the whole South African economy is going to be immense. And one of the huge impacts is going to be the cost of food. Because if you're going to buy meat, there won't be so much meat around because of the drought. Your staple crops, there's a shortage in all those. What do you think the impact is going to be on the average South African when it comes to the price of food in South Africa next year?
Scott, as you are well aware, we're sitting with a 29% unemployment rate already in South Africa. That means that 29% of the populace that haven't got fixed jobs anyway.
Right.
So those people are below the breadline. They're living below the breadline. And this thing is just going to exacerbate that fact. At the moment, there's a over supply of red meat in this country,
right,
because our borders have been opened with our neighboring states like Botswana, as you are well aware, and Namibia, and their animals have come in. And because of the drought, farmers are getting rid of their stock at a rate which it will take surely near to 10 years to come back to the normal stock totals in this country. And that is if these farmers that are on the ground get help and assisted. I don't know how they're going to do it on their own.
Right, and
there has to be intervention from either the government or banking sector that comes and says that today we have to sit up and take note, and we have to get our South African farmer back on the ground.
Yeah,
and assist him.
Has any?
And I mean, I've got sympathy with Chris with his transport business. I just on a small scale, I wanted to let fodder come from a friend of mine. I haven't got money to pay for the truck to get it to me. It's 900 kilometers to me, and it's just through friends that fodder is arriving here with me on Monday.
Right.
And it's the grace of God. It's just the goodness of people helping one another.
Yeah.
And Chris, I want to say well done and good luck, and I hope it goes well with you, Chris. You're doing a great job.
Right. Now, Chris, over to you. What do you think is going to happen to the price of food in South Africa in the next 6 months to a year?
All right. Firstly, thank you, Johannes, for the compliment. We really try to help wherever we can. Yes, Scott, the thing is that there's I think, to say it in simple words, a child can see that next year we're going to have a massive increase in the food prices. The guy that doesn't see it lives in a real world. We have, at the moment, I think we have less than half the animals left in the drought areas that we had last year. And then, also the drought has been going on for 7 years. So for 7 years, well, I'll say for 5 years, the animals have been made less on the farms because of the drought. So at the moment in South Africa, we're sitting with, I see the advertise here that it's the best time ever to buy meat because meat is on the lowest price ever in
Right.
South Africa. And of course, that is just to show you how much meat there is. The market is overfull. Next year, there won't be any meat in South Africa. Yes, they can import, but the fact is, if they import, it affects the rand again, which also I don't think the government realizes. Because well, let's just stop there for now. I think next year we're going to pay double, if not more, per kilogram for meat.
Wow.
And maybe then after that, people will start realizing in South Africa that lives in the big cities and stuff. Maybe then they'll realize what's going on with the drought. Because at the moment, if you tell them what's going on, it seems like they don't care. But I think they'll start to care if it starts. If they can see the effects. The thing is, I don't want to go this far, but this can get a lot worse than just the fact that we're going to pay more for meat. People get angry if there's no meat. Well, not meat exactly, but food. People get angry if there's no food.
Yeah.
And this can go nasty if our food supply gets less in South Africa.
Well, we've already seen looting of trucks and looting of shops in the last few months.
Yeah.
And that's happening all over South Africa. So there's basically a breakdown of the society in South Africa right now. I mean, that's already happening. So that's going to be compounded next year when these food prices start escalating and the unemployment continues to escalate. Now, going back to you, Johannes, you mentioned assistance that you get from people. Can you tell us a bit more about that? Because I think that's what's really keeping farms like yours alive. Without that, there would be no hope.
The thing is, I've got friends in the northern provinces like Free State and Transvaal, where they've been able to produce not 100% crops, but at least 80% crops. And I've got friends there, and those people, we know each other. We grew up together. Yeah. We were children together, and they've put out their hand and they've sent vehicles at their cost to come bring fodder to us. You're actually shy because we proud people. We're not accustomed to taking handouts.
Yeah.
We normally people that normally give other people stuff, but unfortunately nature is harsh, and but my friends have been very good to me, and thank you.
Fantastic. Now, Chris, you obviously, with all the feed that you gather together, I mean, everybody in South Africa knows what you do, and there's so many generous farmers out there who provide. Do you actually have to buy most of the feed, or is most of it donated that you get?
Most of the feed is donated that we get, Scott, and then, but obviously we need to buy some of it.
Yeah. So our biggest problem at the moment is our fuel cost. Right.
The transport. That's the biggest problem. There's a lot of farmers in South Africa that take hands here. The people here near Rensburg and in the Free State, we get phone calls every week. We've got some bales for you to come and get. There's one guy here one farmer here in Rensburg. He actually donated. I worked it out last night that he actually donated bales to the value of 380,000 rand.
Wow.
Just to help the farmers in Graaff-Reinet.
That's absolutely fantastic. And one of the big problems, of course, is this ANC government, and we've already touched on that. Have you had the opportunity to reach out to anyone in the ANC government, Chris, just to see if they can help in any way?
Scott, no. There's other political parties here in South Africa that I did try and reach. The one that stands for well, they say they stand for the white South African. Threats from I approached them, and yeah, that wasn't nice because they said that I compare them to the ANC, and I do, because they do nothing. And I'll tell them again, they do nothing. They said in the beginning of last year with the election that we need to vote for them because they are the biggest white party and they can help.
Yeah.
Don't vote for the other parties because they won't be able to help. They don't have enough seats in Parliament. And then afterwards, when I spoke to Dr. Peter Groenewald while I sent him a message, he said, well, they can't do anything because they don't have enough seats in Parliament. I said, well, why did you tell us to vote for you then? And yeah, well, the DA is another party. They actually, from their side, I think they do the most. Even though they don't do enough. Well, actually, they say they do something. I know in the Western Cape when there was drought there, they helped the Western Cape. I know of further that was to farmers and stuff in the Western Cape. But the ANC government, I don't think there will be a way to even speak to them, even if you really try. They don't want to listen to us.
So the Minister of Agriculture is basically failing in his job.
Yes, well, Scott, he doesn't care about the farmers. He showed that on more than one occasion. There's no help from the government, so he doesn't do his work. What else do he needs to help the farmers in drought? It can't take 7 years for you to wake up and still don't help.
Yeah.
After 7 years, there's places in South Africa that's been in drought for 12 years already. If you don't help with it that amount of time, then you obviously don't want to help and you don't care.
Right. Now, Johannes, asking you the same question. Have you tried to make contact with any of the ministers or any of the politicians to see if that can help, start producing some income or some help?
Look, firstly, Scott, I'm apolitical. I don't vote for anyone. But the thing is, I expect people that are appointed as governors of a country that they do their work, and it's not happening. In our case, we've got a province next to us that's under DA rule. Every farmer there, every month, is getting to the tune of between 12 and 17,000 rand from the central provincial government of the Western Cape. We adjoin that province, and I've told you that the money they promise, it's coming, but it doesn't come. So who's to blame? Is it the ANC, or is the DA doing something better than the ANC? What's happening? I can't answer it because I'm not a politician and I'm not willing to get into politics, but the fact of the matter is, on the ground where I am and amongst farming people, emerging farmers, they're the hardest hit, and we always hear how we must get more emerging farmers. But the people that say this, that there must be more emerging farmers, they're not assisting those people, not at all.
Yeah.
And for me, as a commercial farmer and my kind, it's even it's even worse off. So that's it.
So what you're actually saying is that the DA are actually distributing money to the farmers, whereas the ANC are keeping that money for themselves.
Well, something like that is happening. I mean, it's fact. Why is the Western Province, the Karoo in the Western Province area, they helping their farmers? That province is also getting the money from central government.
Yeah.
But that money is being distributed to the farmers. And whereas the Eastern Cape and the Northern Cape, which is under ANC rule, none of that money is getting to the farmers. It's not getting in. So somewhere there's a hitch. I can't answer it. We must ask our Minister of Finance, and we must ask our Minister of Agriculture, and then we must ask the President of this country. Does he sleep well at night?
Do you think the president...
Does he sleep nicely at night?
Yeah. Do you think Ramaphosa really cares?
I don't think so. He's sitting in London tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's
trying to get money trying to get more money from Western countries.
Yeah, absolutely crazy.
Why does he go to the West?
Yeah.
Come to South Africa. Come and do your work here. Ride amongst your people.
You told me the story about a farmer who's got 2 farms, one in the Western Cape and one in the Eastern Cape. Tell that story to us. What happens there with that money?
Yeah, the one farm, this friend of mine, it's a young guy, he's got a farm in the Western Cape on the Beaufort West side, and he's got a farm in the Graaff-Reinet area. Mm-hmm. The Beaufort West farm is getting money every month from the government.
And that's a DA?
From the DA government.
Right.
But the Eastern Cape one, there's just no help.
And
so
have you guys contacted...
And that I can...
Have you guys contacted the people who are supposed to distribute this money?
Often. I've spoken to Land Affairs in Bishu. I've spoken to our representative of Organised Agriculture. That poor guy, the farmers blame him that the money is not coming out. He can't dish out the money. He's a chairman of Organised Agriculture in the Eastern Cape. He tries to assist as good he can, but he can't make the money come to the farmers. The government must see that that money that's allocated reaches the farmer on the ground, the government of the day.
But there's got to be someone who's in control of that money who's doing something with it. It can't just disappear.
Well, Scott, you can try and sort that out. You get to a place, it feels as if you're speaking to a brick wall. Right. No one can answer you.
Yeah, and because the ANC government is so corrupt at all levels, I mean, it's par for the course, isn't it?
There are good people in that government too, but I just feel that something is wrong with the setup in the Eastern Cape, yeah, and in the Northern Cape and in the Free State. But how do you go to anyone in high echelon of a government? I can't speak to my minister on the ground. I can't say to minister because I never pitch up here. I can't say minister. Of Land Affairs, there's something wrong. You people allocated money, it's not reaching us. Can't you come and assist? Send the Minister of Finance, whoever he is, come and help. Look what's going on. You can't speak to them. They're in offices, they're in meetings, they're overseas, they're everywhere, but not in South Africa. Yeah. I'm sorry to say.
Now, Chris, over to you. You must hear stories like this all over the country, because you basically deliver feed all over the country.
Yes, Scott. No, we do. I spoke to one of the DA guys the other day, and he said that the problem that we're sitting on at the moment is the money that was allocated for the drought relief in the Eastern Cape got lost there by Beljon, and now so they want to. The ANC says they want to help this year, they want to, but the thing is they need to advertise that in our newspapers to say that it's what's the English?
It's available.
Anyway, yeah, well, and to say the situation that's going on in the Eastern Cape and the Northern Cape, but now to do that. They need to tell the South Africans where the money went that they allocated last year. And they can't do that because that money is gone. So now they decided not to help them because otherwise they're going to be investigated. And they don't want that.
What?
So I think they are waiting for parties like the DA and stretch front and all of that, to come to them and tell them, listen, we won't investigate you. You can just give us the money. We won't investigate you, and then things will maybe get better. But I think that's the situation at the moment in South Africa. That's why when they say that they're going to give money to help farmers in need at the moment, I'm telling you now, nothing is going to happen. It won't happen because they are afraid of being investigated for the money that was stolen last year.
Well, why aren't they being investigated anyway?
That I can't answer. We all know that the money is gone. We all know that the money is stolen, but there's no investigation.
Wow.
And I mean, this has been going on for, as I said, the drought's been going on for 7 years, and no investigation, no help, nothing.
Wouldn't this be a great story for carte blanche when you consider what the impact is going to be on food, the price of food next year?
I tried to contact carte blanche and to get hold of them. Firstly, on the internet, the email address doesn't work, the phone numbers doesn't work.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't know how we're going to get hold of them. And then also, I did spoke to them in the past about other situations, and I don't think they really want this on TV. I don't think they want. When it comes to the ANC, our media doesn't want to say bad things. I think they're afraid of that. You do get one or two guys that speaks out, but they don't want to get involved in politics much.
Yeah. But we're talking about a critical situation developing here, aren't we? I mean, really, we are. This is going to impact on everybody in South Africa. Am I right in saying that, Johannes?
Yes, obviously. But what's interesting, Scott, just another thing, and Chris knows about it. We've got this organization, Gift of the Givers, with the Dr. Suleiman that leads it, and that man this week he's bringing fodder to Graaff-Reinet. His organization is bringing a lot of fodder to Graaff-Reinet. He's doing more than what the government has done.
Wow.
But Scott, we can complain and cry and go on here. I can't see that government will reach its hand out and come and assist the farmers. I can't see them doing that, and there's a reason also for that. Why I think that.
Yeah, I think I know the reason as well. But how has this impacted on your family, Johannes?
Well, what's fortunate, I've got tough breeding stock people. They come out of these people that I call Boers, and we'll get through this with the grace of God. We'll get through this, but it's tough on the women folk and so on. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Chris, over to you. One of the great casualties of all this, the neglect by government in supporting the farmers in drought-affected areas, is the number of suicides that are now happening amongst the farming community.
Yeah.
You must come across this quite a lot.
I haven't met a family yet that went through suicide. What I do know is Boer Media, Johan we spoke the other day, and the guys at Boer Media. I think in the last 7 years, it's about 100 farmers that committed suicide. I do know of 3 farmers that committed suicide in the last 2 weeks. There's nobody speaks about. Nothing has been said. Nothing has been. It's just quiet. But yeah, there's a lot of farmers. We delivered fodder to a farm in the Northern Cape about 2 months ago when the farmer's wife told me that she needs to all the medicine in the house. She had to take out the guns, all his firearms. She had to take it away, and then also his belt that he ties his pants with. She had to take that away because she was afraid that he was going to commit suicide. And then also she said that she can't walk with him all the day just to see that he doesn't do something stupid. But we did help them, and we helped them more than one occasion. And I must say, his whole attitude on life is much better at the moment. He's also trying to help from his side, but it's hard. You see, as Johannes said, we are a very proud nation, and we don't like help. We like to help.
Yeah.
As soon as you receive help and stuff, it feels like you are a failure. And then also, I mean, these farmers, Johannes, you can tell me if I'm wrong here, but these farmers are now in the Northern Cape. They see dead animals every day. They see animals suffering every day. I mean, it's something that will make me crazy. To deal with the dead every day. That's all you see every day. That's all you work with every day. You get up in the morning to go and feed your animals. When you go and feed the animals, there's 2 or 3 dead. And then also you need to if you see these animals suffer, what you're going to do? You have to help them to relieve them from the pain.
Yeah. Johannes, your thoughts on the suicide situation with the farming community?
No, that is a reality. It's an ongoing thing. It's happening all the time. It's a hard story. That's how I see it.
Yeah, because one of my...
I mean, people can say, but why do you live here? People will say to you, the question a lot of people will pose to you, why do you live in this dry area? The thing is, I think that everyone gets placed on earth for a reason, and you allocated a place where you're going to stay, and you must do the best you can in that area, but sometimes you just need a bit of assistance. Yeah.
Now, I'm just going to address... Sorry, carry on.
I feel sorry for people that it depends on the person, and you know, but people take their lives when they're under stress like this. That's fact.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you have it all over.
Now, I'm just going to address those watching. We've got well over 100 people watching at the moment. If you want to post questions to Chris or Johannes, just please do. And if one of the moderators can just please cut and paste those questions so that when I start taking questions, we can then pose them to Chris and Johannes, that'd be fantastic. Okay, sorry. Getting back to you guys. Now, what we're saying in effect is the major issue facing drought-affected farmers right now is the complete lack of support by the ANC government. And that's really where the problem is. Am I correct in saying that?
Completely. You're completely right.
And you agree with that, Chris?
Yes.
Okay. So what could the ANC government do to make this right? I mean, what steps could they put in place to actually fix this? Over to you, Johannes.
Firstly, they must come and they must get onto the ground as soon as possible, make a survey of the areas that are affected, as we said, and then they must say what they're going to assist with. They must. The biggest thing that I think is to pay people like Chris for the transport of the fodder. Then to make a survey where they can get fodder closer to where the drought area is, and assist us. And they've got all the tools to do it. The government they've got all the tools to do it, and there should be no excuse for this. They know that droughts are periodic in Southern Africa. That when they started governing us, they knew what they were getting themselves into. And the thing is, and come with monetary. If they can bail out the SAL Airways for millions and billions of rand a year, they do it every year.
Yeah.
Why can't they bail out a farming community that's in need? Why can't they assist them? There are 30,000 white farmers, as far as I know. There are 45,000 emerging farmers, and there are 890,000 people that work on those farms. So that's well over 1 million people that are working on the farms, and everyone on the farm has got. They've worked out the average of 5 dependents on them. So the government is not going to fail anyone if they assist these people that are on the land. They're going to have an influx of people into cities and towns, which they will not be able to go. That's fact. It's going to happen. It's happening already. Our squatter camps have doubled in size in the last 2 years.
Wow. So you're talking about 10% of the population at the moment is currently employed in the farming industry, and that's at risk.
Well, 800,000 people are working on farms.
But then you multiply that to the families.
People on the farmland.
So you multiply that by 5.
Their families. Yeah. Every guy that's working there's got a wife and 4 children, basically.
So that's about 4 million people that's going to be impacted, which is getting
4 million people.
Yeah, getting close to 10% of the population of South Africa.
Yeah.
So, Chris, over to you. What do you see as the major issue going forward with the drought? I mean, what do you see as red flags all over the place?
Scott, well, going forward with the drought at the moment, I think the only thing that we can do is we need to realize that the government is not going to help. We tend to wait, and then afterwards we just realize, well, they're not going to help. And then the thing is, they already showed us, as I said, 7 years. They already showed us in 7 years that they don't care. They're not going to help. I think that we as South Africans need to take hands here, and we need to help the farmers. Not just to help farmers and animals, but to help ourselves as well. We need food. We realize that we won't be able to eat our money once there's no food. So we need to take hands and start to help the farmers.
Yeah. And
show the world that what we as South Africans can do. At the moment, we are doing it in a small part of South Africa is doing it already, helping. We've got about 8,000 people that supports us at the moment. I'd like to see that go up to 80,000, or let's go to 800,000 people, and then I'm sure we'll make a big difference.
Yeah.
We can help. We can help the farmers. We can make a difference, and we don't need the government to do that. We can do that. We can show them that we can do it. The government, they can, from their side, they can make a huge difference if they want to. They can take the money that they use for ESCOM and all of that. They can just give a part of that to the farmers to help, and it will make a huge difference.
Right.
But again, as I said, they don't want to. I think with these land grabs and stuff and without compensation, the farmers without compensation stuff, I think this is playing in their hand. Because now they're not helping us. They're not helping our farmers, and by doing that, they're helping themselves. Farmers will leave their farms for them to take But what they don't realize is, if you are a farmer, you'll stick on that ground.
Yeah.
No matter what, you will stick.
Now, just so you're aware, we've had a few people who've asked for your banking details, and I've put those in the side chat, so that I think you're going to be getting some donations coming through. Do you have a PayPal account for people overseas?
At the moment, we don't have a PayPal account, Scott. We do use Patrick's PayPal account.
Okay, well, I'll put Patrick's PayPal account in there. They just put fuel as the reference. Is that right?
That will be great, yes. Thank you.
Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to put Patrick's PayPal account in here. And if you make a donation from overseas and you want this to go to Chris and Boere at Droogtehulp, please just put in the comment or the description fuel, and that money will then be forwarded directly to Chris. Okay, so let me just have a look. There have been some questions coming through here. Okay, now Michaela's asked, how do people get involved in helping the farmers in a proactive way? And I'm putting this to you, Johannes. Look, if people were able to help farmers in drought-affected areas, how could they help?
Scott, the biggest assistance that we can receive if they could help people like Chris with the transport money in the beginning. And maybe if Chris needs money to buy extra fodder, then, he can also use some of that money for that thing. That'll be wonderful. It's to get transport. Our biggest problem is transport in getting the fodder to the farmer.
Right. Okay. So that is a big thing then. But what you're actually doing is you're getting support and donations from people in lieu of the government failing to do what they should be doing. I mean, that's the situation we're talking about. Okay. Now. Yes, another question for you, Johannes, from Michelle. And it's, have you considered setting a few hectares aside to plant lucerne, irrigate it, and feed the animals with it?
Look, we've got that, but the thing is, in a drought, we as Karoo farmers are wary to use underground water excessively. We must manage our resources that are underground. So there are farmers that have got that. I've also got irrigation, but I've stopped doing that because I find that if I take the money that I spent on the electricity for the irrigation, and I can go and buy the fodder for my stock immediately, I've got fodder and I can go and feed them.
Right.
Whereas if I've got lucerne in, it's only a summer crop, and I will get 4 or 5 cuttings of it, so it doesn't make sense for me. Then there's another 5 or 6 months in the year, or 8 months in the year that I won't have fodder. So that it's every guy would love to have fodder that's growing, but we must take into consideration the resources that we've got underground, that we must look after that.
Right. Now, I put up a video about 2 weeks ago of an Australian farmer, because we have a drought situation in Australia too. And he's got sheep, and what he's doing, which is quite incredible and quite revolutionary, is he's got this big shed, and in the shed he puts basically seed in like trays, and then he waters those for 7 days. And he says from 1 ton of seeds, after 7 days, he's got 6 tons of little shoots. And he then carves those up, and then he just puts them out on the field, and the sheep love it. And they, and he's just got this going the whole time. And so it only takes 7 days to create 6 tons of feed.
Yeah, that's it. Hydroponics, there are farmers that are doing that.
Yeah.
But in South Africa, it's very costly because our electricity is very expensive, and you need to keep the temperature in that medium. It's not a cheap way of making fodder.
Yeah,
in South Africa.
what I might do is I might send you the link to the video, because I put a video up about it, and in that video you can actually see he will take you through the process he works on. And he said that it's a whole lot cheaper than actually going out and buying feed. So look, I don't know. I'm not a farmer, but I can certainly send you the link and you can have a look at it.
No, I won't argue with him, but in South Africa, to put up a thing like that, the smallest unit is 300,000 Rand.
Wow.
Okay. And then, so then after that you have to buy the seed and everything. So, anyway, Scott, you can send that to me. It's going to be, there's a company in South Africa that builds those things that I've seen at Nampo.
Yeah.
So, and you can go and buy yourself one.
Yeah.
If you want to.
Okay. Now, Chris, getting back to you, what got you into setting up this? It's almost like it's just like a drive that you've got just to help the farmers. How did this all come about for you? What started you on this track?
Scott, I started helping about 2 years ago. Actually, they at Aberdeen, the first time I helped in Aberdeen, my mother stays there, and she phoned me and said that there's farmers that are struggling that she knows about. Can we please help them? So we went there, a few friends, and I went there and helped, and then obviously it was only going to be the first and the last one. It's going to be, we're going to help, and then we did our job. And then about 2 to 3 weeks afterwards, I received a phone call from somebody that said that, listen, this farmer and his wife, they went to the river, and there's only a little stream left there, but they went there and prayed there. And they just wanted to tell me that after we delivered the food there. So, yeah, after hearing that story, I decided to help again. And then, yeah, here we are 2 years later, still helping. All I'm doing.
Wow. And just for the record, I mean, you actually have a business that you run in Gauteng, haven't you? So this is like a not your job. This is just basically a charitable thing you're doing.
I do, yes. I have a construction firm here in Rensburg.
Yeah.
And I'm in a situation where I have very, very, very good people working for me at the moment.
Right.
You've met JJ.
Yes, I have. Yes.
Yes, he actually runs my business for me here in Rensburg.
Right.
And yeah, I think it's because of him that I can help, because he runs the business on his own.
Right. And just as an aside to that, are you having to BEE compliant?
Yes. I actually was BEE compliant, and then about 2 years, about a year and a half ago, I decided to stop that. So I stopped all the work that we've done, that the contracts that we had on the mine. We've stopped that, and I now only do work where I don't need to have a BEE certificate, and I'll stay like this. I won't let the government tell me how I must do my work. I've been doing my own business. I have my own business for more than 20 years already, and
right.
I know business. I don't want someone else that doesn't have any brains to do business to come and take some money because he's too stupid to do his own work.
Yeah, look, I think it's totally outrageous what they're doing. Have you heard much about these business forums which come to contractors and demand 30% of their contract value? That seem to be roaming around in different parts of South Africa and disturbing work.
No, I haven't heard of that. But well, in Rensburg, if you want work in Rensburg, you can get that very, very quickly. You just need to pay some or other guy,
Yeah.
X amount of money, and you can get the work. I mean, here in Rensburg there's a lot of Zimbabweans working on the mine with high positions. I don't know how they get there, but you can just give them 10,000 rand or something, and you'll get a contract for 100,000 easily.
Wow. So everyone's on the take, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Wow. Johannes, being in Graaff-Reinet, do you get the same sort of situation happening there? Do you hear about all the corruption and stuff like that that's going on?
I just know in the construction business in the Eastern Cape there's a lot of that going on.
Is this
But in the farming, in the farming sectors, it's not so easy for them to come with that nonsense.
Yeah, because I mean it is totally debilitating the whole construction industry in the cities.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, now let's get back to our subject here. First of all, are there any questions, Malina, that I've missed? You can just plonk them into the side chat here. That'll be fantastic. Oh, here's one here. Have the gentlemen seen the technology where lucerne is grown in trays and introduced to the livestock? Well, I've just talked about that. Yeah, that's that video I think we're talking about there. Okay, here's another one. Music says, without light they grow, then all you need to do is keep buying seed and plant. I think that's what that farmer was saying, is that he keeps them in the shed, and the only thing he has to do is just provide the water. And because it's only 7 days, you know, there's still little seedlings, and it increases from 1 ton to 6 ton, and it's feed. That's a huge transfer, and that's only over a week.
Now we know about all that technology. It is available in South Africa.
Okay. Now, Chris,
I almost told you.
Yeah, Chris, your next delivery is next weekend, isn't it?
Next weekend, yes.
Yeah, and you're doing you're doing a very big one, aren't you?
Yeah, we're doing a big one next weekend again, and then our next delivery is actually tomorrow morning. They're in the Eastern Cape, little place called Komadaga. We're gonna deliver tomorrow morning, and then Monday again, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the big one on the weekend.
Yeah. You know what I'd ask you to do, even with the small ones, Chris, is to do a video for me, where you're on the road, and a video where you're actually taking the bales off, and a video where the farmers are putting it on their trucks. You know, so like a 5-minute long video. And what I'll happily do is I'll put that video onto my channel with your banking details and do a little bit of an intro, so it'll help, you know, bring donations in. So if you want to do that, I'm happy to, you know, put that up on the channel.
Well, thank you, Scott.
Okay. Now, I'll just see if are there any other questions folk in the side chat would like to ask? I think we covered a lot of ground. Is there anything you'd like to say to people who watch this video, not necessarily live, but a later stage? Because a lot of people will come in once it's up there in the archive and have a look at it. Johannes, is there something you'd like to say to people who watch this video?
I'd just like to say thank you for the opportunity to be able to just vent the feelings of ordinary stockmen, which are in dire straits, and if people can assist, it will be wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic.
And Scott, just for you calling on us, I would like to just say, on behalf of the farming fraternity in South Africa, thank you for the interest that you have shown. You've done more than what our government is doing for us. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. And at this point in time, I see Marlena's here in the side chat. Marlena is like my shadow. I mean, she does an enormous amount of work for me in the background. And it was Marlena who put me in touch with you and set this up. And this is a shout out to Melina. Keep up the great work, Melina. Now, Chris, over to you. Is there something you'd like to say to people watching this video?
Scott, yes, thanks. I see here at the side chat there's I think it was a lady asking why can't we use solar panels. To buy the solar panels, firstly, is very expensive. And then to get the money back that you spend on the solar panels will take you about 10 years. And then obviously you need to maintain that for that period of time. And then also with these, the video that the guy made from Australia with that grass that he produces from the shed, I went into that. I had a look, see what, but it's not worthwhile in South Africa. It's too expensive to do that here in South Africa. As Johannes said, the electricity is very high, and then also that the farmers don't have any money. They don't have money. Some of the farmers don't even have money for diesel or for food in the house. We provide farmers with food and everything. So at this stage, it won't. They won't be able to do that. Yeah, that was just some feedback on that. And then Scott, again, thank you very much for helping us. Thank you very much for all your support. We really appreciate it. Thanks, Melina. She's on the Facebook and reminding me the whole time. So thanks a lot. I do appreciate it. Thanks, Johannes, for joining us tonight and
thanks, Chris.
Your side of the story.
I have to tell you a story about Melina. She makes me smile. Now, you all know Steve Hofmeyer, and he's one of these people who's very, very hard to get to reply to an email, let alone get his email address, which I've got. But I was in, Steve Hofmeyer came to Brisbane to do a concert, and I went to the concert, and you know, I took some video and I put it up on my channel, and next day I got an email from Steve Hofmeyer, and he was still in Brisbane, and he said to me, he said, Scott, he said, I have to tell you, your supporters are very persistent. And I knew exactly who he was talking about. And anyway, I replied and I said, look, Steve, would love to have a chat to you anytime. And I haven't spoken to Steve yet, but I have spoken to his son, Devon, a few weeks ago. And again, that's Melina who's, you know, made that contact for the channel. So yeah, look, huge shout out to you, Melina, for everything you do. Alright guys, if there are no more questions you want to ask, I know these guys are busy and they probably have to get up early in the morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Johannes, and sharing with us your thoughts, your reality, what's happening behind the scenes. And, you know, our thoughts and our prayers are with you, because the farming community are the bedrock of South Africa's economy and always have been. And this ANC government is just completely inept and incapable, and that's a tragedy. And hang on, give me a second, guys. I've got a couple of little WhatsApp messages that are shot across my screen. and to Chris, I've said this before you actually came on. I said that you remind me of a modern-day Piet Retief, you know, leading the charge in assisting people in the way you do, and you probably don't realize it, because you're coming quite iconic out there. Everybody talks about what you do, and it's not going unnoticed, and you're doing a fantastic job, and I really take my hat off to you. Keep up that great work. Right, now I just want to turn to the people who are watching right now and say thank you so much for being part of the live stream. And to my moderators, you guys do fabulous work. Thank you so much. And I'm going to turn off the live stream in a minute. But before I do, remember that I will be talking to Louis Mankies tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And he is from TLU South Africa, which supports the revised rural safety strategy of the South African Police Service, or SAPS, which will be launched in Makhado, Limpopo, and it was launched on the 10th of October. And just a little bit more, TLUSA is committed to the rural safety strategy, and it will promote rural safety if each participant brings their side and work together in keeping farmers and farm workers safe and sustainable on the farms. Now, I'm hoping to get Marius Roos to join us tomorrow night, because as you know, Marius is training young men in bushcraft with the objective of actually getting them to go and work on farms and form like a protective network for farmers. So I think that could be a very, very interesting discussion tomorrow night. All right, without any further ado, thanks once again, Chris, Johannes. It's been lovely meeting you both. And I'm sure I'm going to catch up with you guys again in the future. But please, everybody, be safe and have a good evening. And I'm about to sign out.
Good night.
Okay. Cheers, guys.